Hello and welcome to episode Nintendo 64 of Retrotopia, Kid Chameleon. This is Sam this week with the intro, and hope everyone's doing well. Man, we really should have covered a game ending in 64 for episode 64, shouldn't we? But alas, it didn't work out that way. This week, Alan and I are going to be talking about Kid Chameleon, which is a game I had as a kid. Alan didn't, but we both had plenty to say about it. As you will find out soon. Please, just real quick, I apologize. My microphone is a bit wonky, and by a bit wonky, I mean totally fucked sounding. My computer decided to default to my laptop speaker microphone instead of the halfway decent microphone that I used to record in. So I've left myself a note because this is not the first time this has happened. So it is going to be written on my computer to make sure that my recording device is set properly for next time. So I apologize for that. I hope you're able to suffer through my track because the conversation Alan and I had about Kid Chameleon was really great, and hope it was fine. So without further ado, let's get the plugs out of the way real quick. If you're new, thank you for listening. We have a link tree where you can find links to our Discord, our Patreon, all of our socials and all that. The Patreon, or the one thing at a time. The Discord is free for everyone, so just follow the link and do something, and you'll get to join us for all of our shenanigans on Discord. The Patreon is also free to join. There is a paid tier where you get a little bit of extra content, but for now, the free tier is available to everyone, and you can comment on the games and send us comments and all of that. And you know what? Speaking of which, let's get to those comments. We have a little bit of write-ins this week, and that's the 9-bit banter box, and I'm doing it this week. So I'm going to click on that. We have 3 comments this week. Sorry, that was so fucking awkward. All right. We have 3 comments this week for the 9-bit banter box. And, you know, we're starting to create a little bit of lore. If you're not sure why it's called the 9-bit banter box, just kind of dig through the backlog. You'll find out. Or ask someone around the old Discord, and they'll let you know. But we have the 9-bit banter box. It makes sense. Don't worry about it. We have Randy with the first question this week, who says, "Hello, Sam. Hope you're doing well." I am. I hope you are too. And having a great start to the new year. If you could eat any one type of cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be? And cheese is not a cuisine. Yeah, it is. So I'd respectfully disagree with that. But Randy says he'd probably go Mexican. Okay. Yeah, 2025 is coming in hot, isn't it? Just, ugh. Anyways, so far so good, and hopefully it continues to get better. If I could only eat one type of cuisine for the rest of my life, man, I'd show you a cheese platter that begs to disagree that cheese is not a cuisine. But anyways. You know, I know this is boring, but I'd probably go Mexican too. Like, I never don't feel like I'd want to eat a burrito or a cheeseburger, but like, man, there's just more options with how you can mix that up. Like, why do you think Taco Bell has so much? Not that Taco Bell is a good example of good Mexican food, but like, you know, you arrange those same few ingredients all kinds of different ways, and you got all kinds of different combinations. It's good. You can make a tostada. You can have a burrito. You can have a chimichanga. It's all good. So Mexican is my answer. That's my final answer. Thanks, Randy. All right, next, Blaine the Hoagie Man says, "Hello, Sam." Hi. What words are funny to you when you've had a lot to drink? Well, Blaine, I don't necessarily, I don't drink very much. I don't drink anymore, but I would say when I did drink, or even not drinking, there are lots of words that I find funny. I'm trying to think of like some off the top that just always like I can't say or use in a sentence without kind of giggling. Definitely poop. Yeah, that's one of them. Man. Gooch is a good one. That's making me laugh, even if I just say it in this context. Yeah. Taint is a fun one too, because it's used like, yeah. Yeah, those three are pretty good ones. Because like if someone says that something is tainted, you just say taint. That's funny. Thanks for that question. Thanks, Blade. Sir Bustalot has the last question here. He says, "Hey Sam, hi. Hope the new year is good to you. So far, so good. Online multiplayer games. Just curious what your thoughts are. Do you play any of them? Do you hate them? Were you into them at any point? And if so, which ones?" It's a good question. I'm not a big online multiplayer guy. As far as what I've played online, usually like I've shied away from it because I like to play games at my own pace, and I think that if you're playing competitively online, sometimes others are obviously choosing the pace for you. Like for example, you get into like a random like PvP in like StarCraft or something like that, and you're up against some other player and they just annihilate you in like 5 minutes. Like that's not fun to me. Online shooters, like I don't play them, but the Lady Beagle does, and she's pretty good at Fortnite and Halo. Like I don't know that I could hold my own in either of those games. And then what is it? Dead by Daylight. I've watched her play that a little bit too, and that I think would just stress me out. Especially like if it's like a team co-op thing, like Dead by Daylight, where it's like 4v1, I think. It really seems like a lot of the advantage goes to the one, and if you get like a really good player you're playing against and a couple of duds in your party, you'd really be in trouble. That being said, no, I usually don't. I think the only time I get like I go into like random rooms or whatever is I've done it on Mario Kart a couple of times. It's pretty fun. I've held my own in those like random matches. So yeah, I guess so. Mario Kart I've played. Also, oddly enough, Luigi's Mansion 3. I played that online a little bit, but I didn't find it to be all that fun. But no, the short answer is no. I don't really play too much. I don't hate them. I just don't think they're for me. Also, yeah, was I into any at any point? No, not really. Sorry, that's a boring answer, but no. Yeah, so that's it for questions and comments this week. Thank you all. Keep writing in because it's a lot of fun to do these and read all these. And yeah, what have I been up to? I don't know. Holidays were busy. I'm glad they're done and we're into 2025. It's like 2025 we're only like not even 10 days in and already has had its ups and downs. But yeah, I think I've generally gone into the year optimistic for how 2025 will go for me personally. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I think I'll be okay. Just myself here in my little corner. What have I been playing? We'll just go through that quick. Obviously, Kid Chameleon. I've been playing through that as much as I can. I obviously played it as a kid, but as Alan and I will discuss, neither of us have ever finished this game. It is very long. It is challenging. But anyways, I don't want to waste time talking about Kid Chameleon here when you're going to hear about it in a little bit. We finished Silent Hill 2 Remake. Terrifying. And we started The Last of Us, part 1. I think it's the remaster one because, man, those graphics look sharp. I'd say they're even better than Silent Hill 2 remake graphics. I don't know if that's a hot take, but it looks so good. That's been a lot of fun. If you're listening to this and you don't follow me on Instagram or follow us in the Discord, I posted a video of I found the Dunder Mifflin office as an Easter egg, and hopefully that's not a spoiler. I won't tell you where it is. It's in there somewhere, and I guess there are other Easter eggs. So that's adding a little bit of a layer to my enthusiasm for the game, is finding more of these little Easter eggs if I can, and I'll look up a list afterwards, but I don't want to be spoiled for it. But yeah, this is my first time playing through it, and I've really been enjoying it so far. It's survival horror, so it's kind of maybe survival horror. I don't know if it's more story based or more survival horror, but like, having played it right after Silent Hill 2, I think I might prefer The Last of Us, because I really like the combat doesn't get so samey. Because I think that you can mix in a combination of like true stealth and gunplay and fighting switching back and forth between fighting infected and humans is kind of cool, because the humans use strategy and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been fun. I really enjoy it so far, and hopefully we got an episode of it coming up soon. I'm pushing for it. And then the last game I've been playing, hopefully I can finish it pretty soon, is called Beloved Rapture. And that is a review copy that I was kind enough to get so that I can join the guys over at Still Loading podcast. So once we finish that and get that scheduled, that'll be coming out at some point. But it's a good game. It's really cool, really good looking. It looks like an old Super Nintendo RPG, but, spruced up for modern hardware. I'm playing it on Steam, on my Steam Deck, and it runs pretty good. Music is great. The combat system is okay. I have my concerns with like the level of difficulty of the game sometimes, because I'm like stressed every time there's an encounter that I'm going to get wiped out. But other than that, it's a really cool game. I'm really happy to be playing it, and yeah, hopefully you guys all go check out that review over at Still Loading, and I might do a quick play on it also, so you can hear about it there too. Anything else? No, I don't think so. I think it's time. I think I've gone on for long enough rambling, and thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the intro. Sorry for the quality of my microphone in the episode proper. Brian did his technical wizardry behind the scenes to try to juice it up, bring it up to speed so that it sounds as good as Alan's. And let's be honest, it's never going to sound as good as Alan's, but at least doesn't sound like I'm recording at the Stan Mikita's drive-thru ordering sugar pucks. So yeah, that's all. We need to do the GI, the gentleman's intro. I'm doing this without notes, and I'm going to continue to do it without notes because I've been told that it's charming. So without further ado, let's listen to the gentleman's interlude.
Get ready for the ultimate arcade adventure, only at Wildside. It's time to step into the world of Kid Chameleon. Released by Sega in 1992, Kid Chameleon is the intense, action-packed game that's going to have you on the edge of your seat. Developed by Sega Technical Institute and powered by the Sega Genesis hardware, this platformer isn't just any game. It's a full-throttle ride through the mind-blowing worlds of danger, power-ups, and the ultimate transformation. You play as Kid Chameleon, a teen who's got all the skills to jump, run, and fight his way out of trouble. But there's a twist. When a virtual reality game goes haywire, Kid Chameleon enters the game world and takes on the role of many different characters, each with their own powers and abilities. Whether it's the Red Stealth, the Juggernaut, or the Cyclone, you'll need all the skills to survive the crazy landscapes that await. This is no ordinary game. You'll navigate through multiple zones like the Dragon Spike, Pyramids of Peril, and the final Marathon, all while battling insane enemies and facing off against the evil villain, Heady Metal. With a variety of characters to unlock, each with their own set of special moves, this game challenges your skills like no other. Forget simple jumps and easy runs. In Kid Chameleon, you'll need to master new abilities, tackle crazy obstacles, and conquer major bosses. You're not just playing, you're transforming. And those transformations are key to saving the game world and rescuing your friends. And don't even think about slowing down. With vibrant graphics, a rocking soundtrack, and heart-stopping gameplay, Kid Chameleon will have you coming back for more. And it's only here at Wild Side. But don't think it's easy. With every level harder than the last, you'll need quick reflexes and a lot of strategy to win. So grab your tokens, fire up the cabinet, and let's see if you can survive the world of Kid Chameleon. This is one arcade challenge you don't want to miss. Kid Chameleon is waiting for you. Do you have what it takes to be the hero? Get in the game, only at Wild Side.
Okay, thank you, Alan. And here is where we would normally get some comments about the game, but we didn't get any. So none of you must have played this game, which you should fix because it's available on pretty much anything by legitimate means. And you don't have to buy a copy. You don't have to figure out how to emulate it. You can just get a Switch Online, you dingus. You can get it on the Sega Collection. That's everywhere. So, instead of reading your comments, I'm going to berate everyone for not having played this game and commenting on it for us. And then also, you get an extra plug for that. If you're listening to this and you haven't commented on an episode yet, you should get in on our Patreon, patreon.com/Retrotopia. That's where we gather our comments for the game. So instead of listening to you talk about the game, you're going to have to listen to us talk about the game. All right. Thanks for everyone listening here. We are here to talk about Kid Chameleon. It's Alan and your man Sam here. And yeah, how you doing, Alan? We just
Hello.
talked briefly on
We
the
did.
After Dark. Yeah.
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everyone. Hello. Yes, Alan here. I'm good. I'm good. I'm tired. I'm cold, and just looking at the endless swathe of winter that we have ahead of us. And I'm here, and I'm talking Mega Drive or Genesis, if you prefer,
Yeah, I tell
and
you.
that always puts me in a good mood, regardless of the
Yeah,
game.
I tell you what. Cold and tired is a good recipe for success.
Absolutely, absolutely. We
Yeah.
are absolutely we're going to crush it, and we better do it fast because you're going to look at a dishwasher.
I'm gonna go look at my dishwasher. I'm just gonna
Yep.
go stare at it
So
because
we're
it's
on the
not gonna
clock
open.
because you have a
Yes.
date. You have a date with the dishwasher.
Yes. Um, at least it's not like toaster bath or something like that.
Well, that depends how good the episode goes. You know, there's still time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This could go one of a few ways here. So Kid Chameleon, did you? I was curious and I was waiting to ask you
Mm,
until we got to talking here. Have you played this game as a kid?
no. So I guess I played this. It's one of those games that I can't remember the first time I played it, but it
Hmm.
definitely was as an adult. My first experience with Kid Chameleon is much like my first experience with Rocket Knight Adventures, whereas this was a comic strip in my uh, UK Sonic the Hedgehog comic,
What?
the old STC there. So it was a comic strip in there, and because they would, I mean, basically the comic was a fucking advert for all the games that was coming out. You know the deal, and it's just like this kid goes into an arcade and the system's gone haywire, and all the kids that are going in there are being kidnapped and held in there, and he has to go in and bust them out. And I was just like,
Yeah,
"Fuck me, this is a cool concept." And the comic was really fucking cool as well
I'm looking.
because
Yeah, I'm looking at. I didn't know it was a comic. I'm looking at screens of it right now. It looks fucking cool.
is that the Fleetway Sonic the comic?
No idea, but I pulled it up as part of the wiki, and they have some images.
Because
First
I
appearance of Kid in Red Stealth.
Yeah, because I think there was like a manga version or something.
Man,
But also our very hip, very with it, very edgy uh Sonic the Comic version, which I still have upstairs somewhere. I might dig these ones out and read them again. Because I
yeah.
mean,
See if you have this, because this would be good, cool shit to post
oh yeah, no,
on our Discord and on our Instagram and stuff. This is
they're definitely up there somewhere. I know for a fact. It's just finding the exact issues. Um, because gameplay aside, and we'll get into that. I mean, how do you like this for a concept?
it's a great concept, man. Now I'm just like looking at the comics. These like these frames are fucking awesome. Like the artwork is incredible.
I'm
I'm
gonna look.
distracted. Um, yeah, I had this game as a kid. It was one of those ones that I rented enough times that I think my parents were just like, get them the game," or like maybe they found it or like happened upon it
Uh-huh.
at the old Funko Land as it was then called, now GameStop. Um, but yeah, I had a copy of it, I remember, and it was one of those games that I was never really very good at, but I always loved it because I loved all the power-ups and stuff.
Sure,
Um,
sure. I
so
don't
yeah,
I don't think this is necessarily a game that you can be good at.
no,
It's
it's
ju
very, I never really understood what made it difficult when I was a kid, and now playing it a few times as an adult, I'm like, oh, it's just like maybe not that good because he cannot stick a landing to save his life. The
Oh,
platforming
buddy.
is so slippery. It's like you're always on ice.
It definitely like, I'm glad you said it because, I mean, this I mean, it's a platformer, first and
Hmm.
foremost, and a fucking huge one at that. But yeah, it does have some issues controlling. This is not Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not even sure that this is Alex Kidd. It has it has some issues.
Oh, the perfect game for you is going to be a mashup of, and we're going to call it Alex Kid Chameleon, and
Oh,
it's going to make you quit gaming forever.
that well, we'll do an episode on it, and that might be my last one.
Yeah, like, we're signing off.
That's enough for me. But I mean, I said to you in like the pre-chat, but I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going to land on this game at this current point in time. Like,
Yeah, I have
I'm
too much of a soft spot for it.
no, and I can see like both the brilliance and the shoddiness, I suppose, of the sort of in equal parts. So I was just like, I don't. We're going to talk it through, and by the end, I'm going to have to come to a conclusion. But as far as like reasons you're playing this game, like, I love it. The whole
Yeah, yeah, the story or what have
s-
you.
yeah, such as it is. But yeah, going into an arcade, as I say, to bust out these kids from I mean, could you call it a rogue I suppose
Hmm.
the boss of the
Yeah,
game has escaped and is kidnapping kids, and you've got to go and bust them out. And it's just like, fuck yeah. I mean, that's just 90s in a nutshell.
yeah. It's like, gosh, I don't know, like the kid in the wizard that has like is cool because he's got like the leather jacket and a power glove,
Mm,
like that sort of vibe I get from the main character, who is, I can't remember if he has a name or not. I'm just call
it's
him Kid.
Casey.
Casey.
Yeah,
All right,
and
whatever.
that
That's
and that
not
in it,
important.
and that in itself is just like, well, yeah, of course it's Casey. It's Casey. He wears a black leather jacket, sunglasses, wherever he is. It's just like that is. If you were to look up every kid's idea of what was cool in the 90s, I mean,
Yeah,
that's it.
exactly. It's like the Chuck Taylors, the jeans, the leather jacket,
Hmm.
white T-shirt,
Of course.
like black sunglasses, like the Terminator wears, hair probably spiked up, maybe some
Uh,
frosted tips.
maybe, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Um, Man, have you? This is going to be all over the place because it's us.
yeah.
Let's be honest. Have you looked at a map or like a flow chart of how the levels connect to each other?
Oh, yes, I
It's
have.
absolutely nuts.
It's like I can't fault them for ambition, but
Yeah.
oh, there's a lot of game here. And I mean, full disclosure, like I didn't complete the game necessarily, and I don't. You took a fair swing at it, but you didn't beat it either. Have you beaten it before?
No, I've never beaten this game
No,
before.
me either.
I've tried a few times, and then there was one point I think in my 20s that I played it on the Sega collection that I had on my PSP, and I don't know if I got to or if I beat or I game overed on Shishka Boss or whatever, which ends
Hmm.
up being just like the first boss of stage one that has 50 levels in it. And
Ah,
thinking that that was the end, like, oh, I got almost to the end. That was pretty cool. It was like, oh no, that's just the first quarter of the game. Go
can
fuck
you
yourself.
can you imagine? Can you imagine if you had beaten that boss and you were just like so pumped because you thought that was it, only to find yourself with? I mean, there's got to be easy, like, what? Yeah, 45, 50 levels after that. And
Yeah, it's a ton.
that's just the linear levels, to say nothing of all of the sort of secret paths you can take.
Yeah, the elsewheres with the warp.
Hmm.
So basically, when you're going through these levels, if you haven't played this game and you're wondering what the hell we're talking about, you're platforming through these levels, and at the end of the level is a white flag. And you reach the white flag. It's not like a Mario flag where you have to jump on it. You just reach it, and then it ends the level, tallies your score, moves you to the next stage. Um, and then there's also these little warp pads that look kind of like teleporters that are hidden throughout the stages. And you stand on these things, and they'll either warp you to um, another part of the level. They'll warp you to these places called elsewhere. So there's like, I don't know how many elsewheres there are, but they're like levels that are hidden and connect another level on the other side, somewhere else in the game. And so you can do that. And then there's ones that warp you just into completely different levels, not even elsewheres, I think. Like
Yeah,
I've started one level by warp, and it wasn't an elsewhere. It was just like the next level, but it doesn't
honestly.
announce which level you're in. It just throws you in. It's like, where
No.
the fuck am I?
And that is, I mean, there are 32 elsewhere levels. I mean,
Yeah,
in total, and I'm looking at it now, there are 126 levels in this game.
just absolutely insane. And so, like, yeah, you said there were what, 30? Did you say 36?
32, I think,
32
elsewhere.
elsewheres?
Yeah.
And you can play this game without ever touching one of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You can just play it through straight.
if you just go straight for the flags, then
Yeah, you
y
have to go find the flags and not touch any of the warp pads that warp you to an elsewhere. But still, it's like you can either there's so much. I like how there's different. That's a good that's a good segue into like how do you like the length of the game? And it's like, the game is kind of interesting because if you can play it enough to figure it out, you can make this game as long or as short as you want it to be.
oh, for sure. Yeah, if you know where all of the paths lead, and like there are potentially so many different ways to get through. Like you were talking about that map that shows you all these sort of interconnected pathways, and it's like, well, fuck, you could literally just skip entire sections or play the levels that you want to play, or just go for an everything run, I suppose. And
Right.
it's absolute madness. I mean, I can't fault this game for its ambition. Like there is a lot of game in here. The problem with that is that it is let down by the fact that there is an awful lot of game in here, and you've just got to fucking play it. Like there's no walking away from this. Like there's no save feature,
No.
there's no
No.
passwords. I'd have taken a password system.
Yeah,
at
password
least.
system would have benefited this game quite a bit, especially if you're just playing it natural on the home hardware. Now you
Hmm.
can save state, which is brilliant. Like I wouldn't fault anyone. I don't fault anyone for save stating ever, but I wouldn't fault anyone for save stating this game. When I was playing it just a little bit this week, I was using save states at the beginning of each level, and
Uh-huh.
then coming back to it. Obviously if you're playing a Switch, you can just put it to sleep. But
Sure.
man, if you didn't sit down and have a good like couple hours to play this game as a kid, you were starting over from the beginning, which is nice
Absolutely.
because I guess the warp pads are a way to um, speed you through it a little bit more. But
Hmm.
still, I would have liked a password system, I think.
Absolutely. And this is it, because I was actually playing it on my Mega Drive. So it was a case of, well, when do I have a spare potentially 4 hours to play through this fucking game? And you know, I made peace very early on with the fact that I was never going to beat this game, at least not in the time that we had to talk about it. But you know, I certainly got much further in than I ever have before. So,
Right. Same
and
here.
I think I got like, what, 3/4 of the way through stage 3 before I game overed. And that's what, 75% of the game. And with so many levels behind you doing that, I feel very confident talking
Yeah.
about this game because
Yeah.
I've experienced a lot of it. Because there
Plus,
is a
I
lot.
mean, that's really good too because not only do, as we mentioned, is the platforming is really slip slidey, but it's kind of hard to land if you are using one of the power ups or you don't have a power up and you have to jump on an enemy. That becomes very challenging because the
Hmm.
the jumping is very floaty.
Very.
Um, and the just I've also noticed that it's got I don't even know how to quite describe it, but it's bouncy too. Like
It is.
you just kind of fling off in different directions. You really have a lot of um, I guess technically you have a lot of control over um, your mid-air positioning. So just like Mario, say, like you can jump up and around something, which in real life would not be. You can only jump up. you,
Yeah.
you can't jump up and around something in real life, but like this game relies on it in some places where
Oh,
you
for
have to
sure.
get kind of a head start. You have to be running, you have to jump, and then you have to like maneuver yourself up and around something. And I always dreaded the spots in some of the levels I was getting to where you're having to platform across like a single block.
Hmm. Oh, yeah.
Uh, like, well,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna eat shit on this one because he's gonna slide off or he's not gonna land or you're gonna overshoot it and that was easy to do too was
Oh,
to jump up onto something but overshoot it and come down the other side.
yeah. Big time. I mean, I find with things like that, your best bet is to just hope you land on it and then just commit to jumping immediately for whatever's next. Because if you try and stick the landing on a block like that, like
No,
there's no way. There's no way.
right.
It's Yeah, and I mean, it's not, again, the worst platformer I've ever played, but it does. I mean, I think the early levels are fairly forgiving. The game does a good job, I think, of easing you in, but
Yeah.
by some of those later levels, like you had better wrap your head around the quirks of this gameplay because it gets brutal.
Yeah, I'd say what is the level that I'm trying to think of the level that gave me trouble when I was a kid. I think one of the Underskull Mountains was the first point that would give me difficulty. So it's probably like one, two, three, four, five, six or seven stages in.
Hmm.
There's some there's some platforming across lava where you have to jump on these platforms that are going up and down and they get progressively smaller
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah.
faster and stuff like that. So that would give me some trouble. But like I swear to God, like you go into if you play this linearly, let's see how many stages are in just or level or oh gosh, what do they call it? They call it stage one. We keep using stage and level interchangeably, but how many levels are there in stage one, which is the first part of the game? One, two,
Mm.
three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Jesus.
Yeah. And there's those and they get really tough.
They
Like
do.
that Hills of the Warrior where there's that like death wall that's chasing you
Oh, don't get me
and
started on
uh,
those. Fuck.
just like what the fuck are we doing? Like all of a sudden like and that's right after kind of a sub boss because you're in that Isle of the Lion Lord, which is I mean there's it's a flag, but at first I thought I was just supposed to kill the Lion Lord, and
Yeah.
then if you do that, another one shows up.
Yeah. So I just found the
Uh,
best bet is to just try and cheese it towards the flag. And
yeah, just avoid him and get to the flag.
I mean, there are a lot of levels, as we've said, and but some of these, like for example, that Isle of the Lion Lord is pretty short. I mean, there's
Yeah,
some levels just feel like they go on forever, and some are really just sort of a oh well, that was quite a direct A to B. Yeah, I didn't mind that
right.
one so much, but it does shake it up quite a lot. But yeah, those Underskull Mountains. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because you never seemed to be able to jump quite high enough to get onto those floating platforms. Like, and admittedly, gaming 101 is obviously always be running, but in this game, to always be running for a jump, it just feels like you're going to get yourself in more trouble than not.
Yeah, because you're gonna fling yourself further or higher than you want to go.
Mm,
There's definitely a learning curve of like when to be
mm,
running and when to not be running. It's not like a Mario where you just want to hold down B and just go for it.
absolutely, absolutely. And did you ever find that you'd have yourself lined up for a perfect jump,
Hmm.
and you'd get your run, and you'd hit the jump, and you'd hit a fucking invisible block that was just chilling out there, which would then just send
Yes,
you, yeah.
God.
I mean, what the fuck? I mean, obviously you have the blocks just like any platform or any Mario game or anything like that, but
Yeah,
quite a lot of them are invisible, which is fine. It means you can find items pretty much anywhere, but they can also just fuck you over quite easily because they just seem to. It's almost like a troll. They just
yeah.
put them exactly where they know you're going to try and jump to make this really precise jump, and it's just like what you've
Yeah, and it
yeah
makes this sound like doo when it like appears, and it's just like, oh fuck. And sometimes it's like kind of over like I've hit ones and then fallen into a pit and died.
yeah.
And then when you die, um there's like a sound effect that goes die.
Yeah, it's just so you fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, plenty of game here. I mean, I feel like we've danced around a lot without getting into what I consider to be the best part of this game. We talked about the platforming. We talked about how fucking big this game is. Sam, do you want to tell us about the power ups?
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's take a look at this. These are all the helmets. So they call them helmets, right? Because
Right.
basically he gets a little helmet and then he transforms into whatever the helmet. There's a samurai is one of the more common ones. The Iron Knight who has a couple more little hit points um, and can climb walls. Um, there's they call it the Berserker, which is he looks kind of like a if you know American football, it looks like an Oakland Raiders super fan, but or Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry, they moved. But he's got spikes on his head, and then he can charge walls and break them, which is cool. I kind of wish that the charge once he lowers his head to charge, I wish that would do damage to enemies, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it kind of felt
So
like a bit
he's
of a wasted opportunity there, didn't it? I mean,
yeah, because otherwise he's pretty useless. Um, he's just the regular kid with like one extra hit point, and he can go through walls
yeah.
if you get a running start. My favorite personally is Maniacs, who looks like Jason Voorhees and he throws hatchets.
I was going to ask you which one your favorite one was actually,
That
because
is
there's
that is
there,
my favorite one for sure.
because there's what, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine different helmets that you can wear. Each one changes the sprite into that sort of corresponding. I guess they kind of all look like superheroes in a way, and each one has a different ability, which again I think is genius, absolutely
Yes.
genius, and really impressive considering like the technical limitations. Um, some of them, some of their abilities are fine, some of them are a bit meh, and some of them are just really fucking useful. Um, but I think as a game mechanic, it's without this in the game, all you've got is a fairly bog standard platformer. I mean, this is what sets the game apart. This is what people remember the most.
This
Um,
is honestly what kept me coming back to it at the video
100%,
rental store.
one
Yeah,
hundred
like
percent.
why I rented it a million times as a kid and then eventually ended up with a copy of it.
I was
Um,
actually going to say
yeah.
Maniacs as well. But I mean, I could hear an argument for Juggernaut. Basically, you just turn into a fucking tank with a skull hanging out of the
Yeah,
driver's seat.
that that one's the coolest looking one, but it makes it difficult to maneuver
Sure.
your sprite basically becomes like three characters wide, basically, for lack of a better, like you are a whole ass tank, and
Yeah.
so you can't fit down through a space that's meant for like just a single sprite. You
Yeah.
can't fit down there.
He does
Um,
fire skulls though, so that's pretty
yeah,
fucking metal.
that's so cool.
But yeah,
Um,
Maniacs is probably my favorite as well because that ability to just throw axes is really handy, especially for some of the bosses later on.
yeah, he throws them quick, and there's no limit to how many you can throw.
No.
You just spam that throw button, and he's just like hucking axes. And then I found it. That's how I beat Shishka Boss. Was um, started out by finding that mask and just keeping it
Yeah.
as long as possible. I think I lost it, and then I think I ended up bouncing on the head a few more times with just the regular kid.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Uh,
there is actually a Maniac's mask in the Shish Kebab level or Shish
yeah,
Kebab
there's only
level.
one though.
Yeah,
There's only
exactly.
one.
But as long as you can keep
Um,
hold of that, you're golden because you just send a stream of axes at him, and he's pretty well fucked.
yep. Um, the fly was pretty cool too. It doesn't really do much aside from allow you to get through some smaller spaces.
Mm. You
But
can you can effectively climb walls with it as well by hopping off of walls,
right.
and I didn't think much of him at first. I was just like, okay, I'm just small now. But once I figured out that you can literally just climb up walls, it was just like, okay, I can. This is going to get me out of a fair amount of platforming as long as I can keep hold of it.
And I love the sound effect when you get it. It makes some sort of like weird sci-fi noise,
Yeah.
like you're watching a movie and it's like, oh, it's weird. You turn into a fly.
What do you think of the Sky Cutter, the skateboarding dude?
I think I've only found that one time when I
Uh-huh.
was kind of like aimlessly jumping through the elsewhere levels and like sometimes you play this game and it's like I want to see every single level and I want to get to the flag and actually like get as far as I can outright. And sometimes you're just like I want to get lost in this game and I want to like find as many of these platform or these warps as I can and just kind of like bounce around. And I think that's where I ended up finding the Sky Cutter one time because I uh, it's hard to find. It's not that one. There's one called the Cyclops and then one called the Cyclone. Those are
Mm.
ones that I very rarely find.
See,
Um,
I came across all of them in my playthrough the other day, and I think they definitely become more common the further into the game you get. I mean, the Sky
that
Cutter
makes
was
sense.
cool. It's just like obviously you're skateboarding, but you also have the ability to you can jump and then press the special button, and he will flip upside down and ride along whatever ceiling is closest, which
Oh,
was
that's pretty cool.
that is cool.
It
Uh,
kind of reminds me of like the Marty McFly hoverboard from Back to the Future Part
right,
Two.
like when he's in the tunnel.
Yep.
And he goes up, yeah, absolutely. Exactly that. Fucking
Yeah.
great Paul, amazing films.
Yeah.
Cyclone was pretty cool because you can effectively fly with that. You just turn into a cyclone, and it sort of, now that I think about it, turns into Flappy Bird.
Yeah, because you turn into a cyclone, and then as he's spinning, he hovers as long as you're hitting that
Yeah,
either the jump or special button, and then he falls down, and you have to, yeah,
yeah,
it's basically
and
Flappy Bird.
Iclops just fucking sucks.
So I'm looking at the wiki, and I know that the beam that he has will reveal um, the beam will reveal the hidden blocks,
Hmm.
and that kind of seems to be about it.
Yeah,
But it says here it also zaps meanies to death, and I don't
the
really know what that means,
the
but apparently
fuck
it's
it
also a
does.
weapon. But yeah, I never had that experience.
No, and there's a level later on in the game where you play exclusively as Iclops. And basically, his thing is like you can shoot this beam across the screen, and it will reveal hidden blocks. Like now, if you're trying to platform across a pit or something, these blocks do not exist unless they're revealed. So you shoot the beam across, and for a limited time, they will be there, and you can hop across this pit. And that's about it. It seemed to have almost no offensive capabilities whatsoever, and that level just swallowed my lives and continues. Like it
Yeah,
sucked. Like I fuck you, Iclops. I hate you. You're no maniacs, that's for sure.
yeah, it's some of these it seems like are kind of tough to master, but then again, they're so deep in the game that you don't get an opportunity to kind of play with them very much
No,
because you're deep in the game, and if you're nearing the end of your run, because you're running low on continues, you don't get a lot of time to see how play around with them and see how they work.
yeah, absolutely. And it's not that the game isn't generous. I even on this playthrough, I mean, I was finding, at least in the early going, quite a lot of extra lives, quite a lot of continues. So it knows how brutal it's going to get, and sort of prepares you for it. Uh, but you're going to need every single fucking one of these as you go on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I was looking for speed runs because I wanted to see if like people found speed run any percent. So I guess the world record was, is that a minute?
It's possible.
Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna,
It's
hopefully it
it's
doesn't,
it's how I
hopefully it's
beat.
not loud, but I'm gonna
It,
click on this.
I can tell you how it's done.
Oh yeah, no, it's like a minute and a half. Yeah, sorry. I hope that didn't make sound as I was trying to. It was playing through my headphones, so I couldn't hear you. So this is great podcasting. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I guess you can, if you know what to do, you can make it through this game in, a couple minutes, or it
So
can take you hours and hours and hours.
absolutely, there is no in between. But yeah, so
No.
you'll recall I sent you a picture of the completion screen. That said,
Yes. How did you do that?
I've not counted it in my completed games list because it is such a cheese. I don't feel good about calling this a win. Uh,
Okay. Yeah,
but
lay it on me.
there is a way to literally jump from the beginning of the game to the very last level. So where's my list of levels? So it's on Blue Lake Woods 2. So that's the second level in the game.
Okay.
And just above the flag, there are a series of item blocks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, if you stand on the last item box above the flag and press down, right, jump, and special all at the same time, you'll actually warp to the last level in the game, Plethora,
Oh,
and
check that out. Okay.
fight the final boss. And oh, buddy, like I mean, I did it and I beat the final boss, so I guess technically I completed the game. But
I think in aggregate, you've played enough of this fucking game that you can count it.
well, I sort of look at it like this as well because the theme of the game is basically this guy going into an arcade to beat the system. So kind of cheating to beat the system kind of feels on brand. Like if you were sucked into an arcade game and you had to save all of these people's lives, like you'd cheat, you'd exploit, right?
Hmm.
But I kind of felt grossly under-practiced for this final boss because fucking hell, it was a beast. And where I'd not earned my stripes at that point, it's just like I had no fucking idea what I was doing. It
Oh,
was
that's crazy.
yeah.
So yeah, I was like scratching my head trying to figure out like how would you get to the end and then not like aside from you said it wasn't save states and you were playing it on original hardware and all that kind of stuff. I was like, man, I wonder what it was then. Yeah, so that makes sense. But that's
Yeah.
pretty cool that that exists in there. And if you were able to find that or you knew about it as a kid, I mean, like I said, in aggregate, you could play through this game and experience most of it and
Yeah.
have a pretty good idea of, what it's all about. But did you know this is kind of like my last thing uh before we wrap up, I guess. Um, Unless you have anything else. But it sounds like there are some ROM hacks that they do for this game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Kid Chameleon wiki, and there are um, they call it Kid Chameleon 2 Heady Metal's Revenge, which I think is the tank, little tank guy.
Well, as
And then
far as
there's
I've
Kid
found out,
Chameleon,
heady metal
yeah.
is actually the bosses, the heads.
Oh,
That's
okay.
actually, and it's not said anywhere but in the instruction manual. So there is
Oh, okay.
literally no way you would have known that.
So yeah, Heady Metal's Revenge, and I never had the instruction manual even as a kid.
No, sure.
Um, I think I just had a loose copy because it was used. But yeah, Heady Metal's Revenge is Kid Chameleon 2, and then they made Kid Chameleon 3, The Final Marathon.
Ooh,
So yeah, there's ROM hacks out there of this game. So if you enjoy the gameplay,
I am
uh, or
interested.
you're a fan, yeah, and it seems like so they on this wiki they have difficulty ratings 1 out of 10, and Kid Chameleon 2 is a 7 out of 10 difficulty. Kid Chameleon 3 is a 9.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
I have to imagine that they've ironed out some of the creases, though. They have to have.
maybe unless they just use the same. I mean, they could just use the same, you know, game, gameplay and game mechanics and everything. Just
I
swap up the levels,
I
like Mario
suppose.
Maker of, yeah.
I guess.
I don't know. I,
Like,
I imagine that it's not.
yeah,
Because the backbone of a ROM hack has got to be the same, basically the same programming as the game. You're just adding
yeah, I guess so.
new shit. I don't know. I think it's probably really fucking difficult and just as slip slidey as the first game.
I mean, I'm interested, but I don't know how interested I am in a game that's harder than this one.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean it's you have to emulate it too, and
sure.
I don't know if you'd run it through a Sega emulator or if it would just I don't know, but it's kind of cool. It's there if you're interested. It's just kind of like Super Pool World and all those Super Mario World ROM hacks that are crazy. If you've seen video play of those guys that just are absolute bananas at those games.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen some videos and it's just absolutely crazy. Yeah, not yeah, I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, getting too old for this shit.
I'm getting too old for this shit. I am going to beat this game eventually. Like
Oh, that's fair.
I would like to take another swing because I do enjoy it. For all of its warts, I do enjoy the game. I mean, we didn't touch on the music, which to be fair kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, it's just like there were some sections, particularly like the what do we talk about? The Skull Mountain ones, where it's just like, oh my god, this music is just so fucking repetitive, and
Oh yeah, that one it's like dun, 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 and it just like
it's like a 7-second loop or some shit.
right, yeah, but it just repeats. Like it's not a
Mm,
bad little riff, but like I don't want to hear it immediately again and again and again.
no,
Like
absolutely not. No, it did drive me fucking crazy. I mean,
I think, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna like say because obviously this is it's a long game. There's a lot of game here, but there's not an awful lot to talk about, if that makes sense. You know, it's
Right. No, I don't think they left enough space on the cartridge for good music. I think they
no,
they wasted it all on all the memory space was taken up with like different level configurations.
sure, sure. And I kind of feel like, I mean, this is a packed out cartridge. Like there is a
Hmm.
lot of game in here. I mean, there is a lot that feels kind of stretched, I suppose. It's kind of like they had to put so much in here that not any single element is like completely refined. It's like the platforming is a little bit, sloppy. The music kind
Right.
of sucks. There's lots of levels, but there's you know, in all of those levels, there are some that are a bit like, oh, okay, well, this is just kind of boring. It's just like it
It's
feels like
yeah.
their grasp, whatever the phrase is, their reach overextended their grasp, or whether however the fuck you say it, you know what I'm saying. Um,
If you if you ever watched The American Office where Michael orders pizza but he gets pizza from the wrong pizza place and they're all pissed, but he's like, "Would you rather have a lot or a little bit of really good pizza or all you can eat of pretty good pizza?"
I
And
ha-
everyone's like, "The first one." He's like, "God damn it."
I have
This is the
not
second
seen
one.
that, but that is
Okay,
perfect. That
this
is
is a great
perfect.
analogy because that's the sec this is a lot of pretty good pizza. Whereas like a Mario is like a little bit of really good pizza.
100%. 100%. That is perfect. Because there is a fun game in here. Like there
Yeah,
is so many great ideas, and those helmets are fire. Like
they're so fun.
they are the literal best part. To literally have however many we counted, like different ways to play this game. Like that's what you're coming back for, as you said. Um, it's just the rest of it just needs a bit of spit and polish.
Tell you what, I bet this would be a really cool game if they could do like a remake or a remaster and fix up some of the kind of mechanical issues or just a straight
Mm,
like or just a straight homage sequel type thing. I
yeah.
mean, I'd play the heck out of a true like a true sequel to this game that cleans up some of the issues of the prior one, but I'm sure we'll
Oh,
never get it.
definitely.
I mean, I think this game has its fans. I think it's a cult classic, but I don't think anyone's like, we need a Kid Chameleon 2
I would
or we need this to be remastered. It's accessible enough everywhere.
I definitely feel like this game could come back. I definitely feel like this concept should come back. And I was thinking a lot about this. Do you know what you do with it? You clean up the platforming, you give it a better soundtrack, and you make this game a roguelike.
Ooh,
Think
okay,
about it.
yeah.
So you are
I mean, it
playing.
practically is anyways because you can get lost.
Oh, absolutely. But think about it, all the different paths you can take, and in keeping with the theme of it being inside an arcade game, obviously the game over and the continues are your mechanic of retrying the game. Like that
Yep.
is, it kind of sounds stupid because that's the mechanic in any fucking video game, but you could really just play on that being the whole theme of it. Just like game over continues, and that's how you just take another run at it. And
Man, that sounds awesome.
I would play that game.
Yeah, and now I'm like disappointed that it doesn't exist and probably won't.
And just think about all the new helmets that you could add.
Yeah, you could add a bunch. You could keep the classic ones.
Hmm.
You know, oh man. Well, it'll never happen, unfortunately. But
Well, never say never.
wah, wah.
We
Unless
yeah.
Brian makes it. When Brian, finish your schooling and make us Kid Chameleon roguelike.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
I love it. All right.
I'm
I think.
spent.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think we've said all we need to say. Shall we wrap this fucking thing up and call it a day?
Yeah, what are you giving Kid Chameleon out of 10?
Ah. See, I said by the end of the episode that I would have come to a conclusion, and
But you haven't come, have you?
I haven't. No,
Oh,
no, no, no. I have. finish that up in the after dark. Um,
Okay.
no, it's a fairly capable platformer. It's very very ambitious. Like if you bought this fucking game back in the day, like you got a lot of game for your money. Like you
Oh
cannot
yeah.
you cannot deny. Um, like I said, there's a lot that needed sort of a bit of spit and polish, but it's fun. It's very 90s nostalgic, just in its aesthetic, just in its concept. Everything about it screams that sort of edgy bad boy Sega angle that they were desperately trying to push back then.
Yep.
To considerable success, I think. Um, the helmets, man. I mean, that's the meat. That's the diamond in the rough. These abilities to change into all of these different versions of Casey. It's just fucking brilliant. When I started, I think I was going to give it about a 5 out of 10. I was going to be like neither here nor there in it, but I think I might bump it to a 6 because I enjoy this game
Okay.
more than I don't. I'm definitely going to take another run at it. It's fine. It's above average, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Better than Alex Kidd?
Oh yeah, yeah. Alex Kidd
Sorry,
has.
McG. I know McG likes Alex Kidd.
I mean, Alex Kidd is again a nostalgic game for me, and it's not without its
Yeah.
charms. But I would rather play Kid Chameleon again than Alex Kidd again. The first Alex Kidd, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good thing Sega got Sonic eventually, because otherwise I think they were looking at Alex Kidd being their mascot and ugh.
Yeah, that would have been rough. No.
Um, all right. I've been thinking about this as well while you were giving your final thoughts. I just think all of what you said,
Yep.
so copy paste. I'm gonna copy your work. Uh, plus I have that nostalgia bump. I think, and yeah, I don't know if you also listen to Retro Wars. I did this game with Danny over at Retro Wars, and I don't remember what I gave this game, but I think we ragged on it for a lot of the same things that we didn't like about it. But my most recent playthrough, it kind of just depends, I think, how I'm feeling at the time, because I enjoyed my last run through as much as I got through. Um, and I don't have it on original hardware, but I think if I were to find this at a retro shop, I would pick it up, or I would seriously consider picking it up depending on the price. Um, I think it's a cult classic. It does a lot of things right. It does a lot of things very wrong. But again, it's definitely not one of those games that I put down. I'm like, I'm not going to play that for, you know, a long time. I put it down and I think I might play that again.
Mm,
I've got it on the Genesis collection. It's on Switch Online. I think I don't know if there's a Sega Ages version of it. I don't want to speak out of turn, but there are ways to play this game. They're out there, legit. So go grab it if you're interested. It's definitely fun. It's got some quirkiness that's weird, but there's a lot to this game, and I think it's yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's worth playing. The cover art
yeah.
was fire too.
Oh,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, we didn't mention
that's
that,
what
but that's
initially, for sure.
yeah, that grabs you.
Well, it was the initial draw at the rental store when I was a kid, and the helmets kept me coming back for more.
There you go.
Um, I'm gonna give it 7.5. I think that's really, really high. It's probably higher than it deserves, but I'm ignoring whatever I said on Retro Wars because I quite frankly don't remember, and I'm gonna be inconsistent because this is in the moment what I'm feeling. 7.5. I think it's enjoyable. I have the nostalgic feels for it, and that's what I'm gonna go with.
You go with that, Sam. And if
Yeah.
anyone is crossing multiple podcasts to find out what you scored something only to give you shit, then yeah, you're a nerd. Like,
Well, then I would thank you for listening to me in more than one place and putting up with me.
I would listen to you in all of the places, Sam. But yeah, no, I don't regret buying this game. I don't regret having this game physically, and you know, it's a fun little game. Fun little game. Definitely gonna take
Yeah.
another swing. I agree.
Absolutely. So that's it. That's our Kid Chameleon episode. Thank you all for listening. Yeah, we'll linktree/Retrotopia, patreon.com/Retrotopia. Join us on Patreon and on Discord. Follow us on the socials. They're all there in the link tree. And until next time, I'm not really sure. We're trying to figure out our schedule for this. We're just adjusting to 2025, just like everyone else is. So
Yeah.
I think next week we thought maybe you would be doing a solo episode, Alan.
Yeah, I mean, there might be moving forward just a couple of like one-off solo episodes with just one of us, and
Yeah,
I don't think we've really locked it in yet, but we might do the older ranking episode there.
yeah.
My
Ranking what? Just
2020
ranking.
ranking just things that are around me. It's just like that guitar is quite nice.
Blind rank things in your room.
Yep, absolutely. I don't think much of
Actually,
these socks.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Those are five.
ranking my 2024 the games that I completed in 2024. We'll see if
Oh
that
wow.
we'll see if that comes about.
That's cool because if you're in the Discord and you also listen, you know that Alan has posted his he keeps track of all the games that he completes and posted a list in Discord that was quite impressive.
Hang
And
on.
yeah, I don't complete everything, so
Oh,
yeah,
well,
it happens.
you have more of a life, so
No, that's
now I'm
okay.
the nerd. Um, but
All right.
well, that'll
Yeah,
do it, guys. And
yeah.
if you found the secret warp to get to the end of this episode, then I'm sorry you didn't really complete the episode. Please go back and try again.